Okay, so there was an example 7. It's based on using a graphing calculator, which is not required for this course. So I skipped over that one. I just didn't want you to think I missed it on accident. So we're going to go to compound interest and the compound interest formula. So the compound interest formula looks like this. A is equal to P times 1 plus R divided by N to the power of NT. Okay? So some of that might look a little familiar to what we're doing with these exponential functions and what we've been working with. When they talk about APR, that's for annual percentage rate. That's going to be for us R. It's also called the nominal rate. Okay, so you take some money, you put it in an account, maybe it's earning, 5% interest, then the rate, it's going to be given as a percentage. The rate is, well, I don't want to write it that way. That's going to be confusing. Say you're having a 5% interest rate, then R would be 0.05. Okay? All right, so we have to take the percentage and change it to a decimal. Now, the formula is great, and this is for when we're compounding interest on a regular basis, like we're compounding it quarterly or semi-annually or daily or monthly, something like that, okay? A represents the amount in the account. That's how we say it, to remember it. So the formula is only good if you know what, all the variables represent. So A is how much money you have in your account after a given amount of time. Okay, so in my example, if I am earning 5% interest, I put so much money in, and maybe 20 years go by, and I go to get my money out. A is going to be how much money I'm getting out of the account after the 10 years. Okay. P represents principal. That is how much money you're starting with. I'll say initially. So that's how much money you put in. Maybe I put in $10,000 into this account. And then the 1, we talked about the 1. The R, we talked about the R. That's going to be based on your percentage rate. Oops. It's the rate of interest. But as a decimal. And then N represents how often it's being compounded. Another way to say it is it's the number of times per year that it's compounded. So if you're compounding quarterly, then N is 4, because it's 4 times a year. If you're compounding monthly, then N is 12. If you're compounding daily, N is 365. They use 365. Yeah, semi-annually, twice a year. Okay, and then T represents the number of years. Number of years. So let me just scroll up a little bit here and we'll go with my example here. So I would say the amount in the account, if I put $10,000 in, and then I had an annual interest rate of 5%, nice, and I was compounding quarterly, and then when you go to do it in the exponent, you're going to have to make sure that both N and T are in the exponent. So N would be 4, and if I did it for 10 years, it would look something like that, okay? And we're going to do an example in the next video, but you could, we're going to practice putting it in our calculator. We would not do this by hand, okay? All right, so that's all the pieces of the compound interest formula that we're using when compound interest is compounded so many times a year.